Hello, today's a very exciting video because today I'm going to be showing you everything that's in my bag Disney edition. I just got back from Disney World and I did 5 days across all of the parks, and the first day I definitely had so much stuff in my bag, and by the end of the trip I really narrowed it down to just the essentials. So if you're either going to Disney World, any of the parks, or even Disneyland, I kind of wanted to show you what I felt was the most helpful to have on me and what I carried around in my bag. The bag that I brought with me was the Baggu boiler bag, and honestly it was the perfect size. It fit everything I needed to. You could definitely squeeze a lot more into it than you may need, or you could have it be a little more empty, and honestly it's really lightweight, so it never felt too heavy even when I stuffed my bag, and it also never felt like I didn't have enough space for what I wanted to bring with me. So I'm going to start off first with what I had on the outside. So since it was my first time at Disney World, I did get a first visit pin that I put on there. And then I also got at Epcot a little panda in China. It fit the theme for Animal Kingdom, and I also love it because it has little magnets. And I thought it was perfect because as much as I wanted some of the Disney character keychains and things like that, I felt like the panda, I think it's cute that it's magnetic. I can put this anywhere. I'm actually probably gonna put this on my fridge just as a cute little memory, and I've always loved pandas, so I thought it was the perfect little find and add to my bag. The other thing I had on my bag was obviously some hand sanitizer, some Touchland, which is so easy with the spray. And I felt bad having Hello Kitty instead of like a Disney character, especially because they have the Mickey and Minnie ones at every store in the park. But once I got to Epcot and we went into the Japan gift store, they had so much Hello Kitty and Sanrio stuff that I was like, okay, I don't feel as bad. I'll just pretend that I got this in Japan, even though it's something that I have and I keep in probably all of my bags that I normally bring along with me. But I was able to, since the Baggu bag has these really great little kind of spots for clips and keychains, I was able to just clip it on the outside of my bag, and it was perfect for after rides, before eating, anything like that. The perfect little ad. And then the last thing on the outside of my bag was actually this little keychain that my friend Bonnie gave us. How it works is you clip it on the outside of your bag and then you clip it around your ears, whether it was in the middle of the day when, you know, you're starting to get a headache, or when you were about to go on a ride that you didn't want to wear your ears for, you could just clip them on your bag nice and easy. And the keychain is the perfect size because when you loop it around, it's not as big as an ear, so your ears aren't going to fall off or anything, and you know it's nice and secure. And then when you're wearing your ears, you can just have it be a cute little keychain and accessory on the side of your bag. Now getting into what was actually in my bag. So the first thing I have here is a little bit repetitive, but I did have wet wipes. Obviously with all of the snacks and things like that, sometimes you need to have something that you can actually like wipe down. And also when you're at the park for so long, you want to do whatever you can to like kind of stay as clean as you can. With that thought in mind, I also brought makeup wipes and a deodorizing wipe. So essentially what this is it's basically like a shower in a wipe, and it has aloe, chamomile, green tea, and tea tree extract. So this one is really nice because sometimes I felt like I just needed to freshen up. It was really hot in Florida. I was super sweaty the whole trip. And so using these little wipes, because of all the ingredients that they have in, it feels nice and cooling on your body. And also once it gets to nighttime and it's not as hot out, you're not as sweaty, it does kind of feel nice just to freshen up but not have to actually leave the park. And then same with makeup wipes. I felt like towards the end of the day, a lot of my sunscreen and like face makeup would kind of like melt into my eyes, and that is the most uncomfortable feeling. So I wanted to just keep with me at all times something to be able to like wipe down, feel clean, feel fresh. And all three of these I used multiple times, and so that's why I wanted to make sure I had them in my bag from day 1 until day 5. With that in mind, I also brought a little spray deodorant. I use this every day, probably twice a day. One of the differences I noticed between Disneyland in California, where I always go, and Disney World is that a lot of the lines were inside because it's so hot outside during, you know, spring and summer. And so since you're inside, you're standing a little closer to people. You don't really have that like outside fresh air. And so I would be a little more conscious of like how I smelled, how sweaty I was, all of those things. And so even going inside to restaurants, anything like that, I wanted to make sure I was as fresh and as clean as possible despite how hot it was. So I always kept with me a little deodorant, and I use this every day, probably multiple times a day. Also, because it was Florida, every day we were very scared of the rain. And so on the first day we had pretty formal ponchos that were like a nice sturdy material. The first day it didn't end up raining, so we didn't get to use it. The second day it downpoured right as we were leaving. And so we only got to use our ponchos for about like 20 minutes on our way out and on our way walking to the car. And since it was so big, it did take up a lot of space in my bag. And so at one point I was like, you know what, honestly, if it rains, anything like that, I'm fine with just getting caught in the rain because I don't want to be carrying such a heavy bag. And so I ended up opting for just a single use, like small poncho. Obviously these, even though it says single use, you can still reuse it, just fold it up. It's not gonna like get messed up from one use of rain. And so I opted to, instead of having my big poncho, I opted for this one because it's much thinner. It's very lightweight and it didn't take up a lot of space in my bag. And as you can see, it's still in the packaging because it never rained enough for me to use it. So by having this in my bag, I felt secure enough that if it really started to rain, anything like that, I'd be protected, I'd be fine. But I didn't even use this on the water rides because honestly, at some points during the day in Florida, it was like so hot that I kind of wanted to get wet just to cool myself down and just to feel a little nicer. So pretty similarly with the poncho, this was something that I really did not want to carry just because it took up space and it was bigger, but I had a nice little clip that I could just put on the side of my bag, and so that's where it was majority of the time. But I had these really nice cooling towels. My friend Bonnie had actually made sure we were so prepped for this trip, so majority of the stuff that I have in my bag is because of her. She kept us cool and going and all the things. We were so ready for Disney World because of her. And so this was something that she found, I believe, on Amazon, but it basically is a cooling towel. They sell them at the park also, but kind of just better to have it beforehand to avoid the high prices, anything like that. What we would do is we would go to any of the restaurants really and just ask for ice water, and we would pour it in here. Even if we weren't going to use it right away, having the ice water and having something super cool, just a cool towel to like put on your shoulders was so nice, especially in some of the parks, because I found that in Epcot, there wasn't much shade from plants or anything like that, like there was in Animal Kingdom. And so even at some points, I kind of just like draped this over my shoulders just to make sure my shoulders weren't getting sunburned. Obviously it felt nice and cool, but there was also like the dual aspect of kind of just like protecting and not getting sunburned also. With that in mind, I also brought just a tiny little sunscreen. This one is perfect because it's technically a face one. Since it's just like an easy to use mold, I would just wipe it on my shoulders, wipe it on my face, and it was perfect and compact. This is probably one of the tinier travel sunscreens that I've seen. It's the Sunbum Kids one. And so it was perfect because I didn't want to take up too much space in my bag and I still wanted to have sun protection of any sort. So having just a little tiny stick that fit perfectly was easy, but also didn't make me feel like I wanted to risk the elements because of how big something was. Next, this is something that is gonna be in every single one of my bags. If I ever do another what's in my bag, probably gonna see this also, but I brought it to Disneyland because you can truly use this anywhere. I just got this bag hook and I think it's the cutest little design. And so essentially you just hook it on the end of a table, on the end of a chair, anything like that. And then you put your bag straps to hold it in place. And honestly, I use this a ton because as you guys know, at Disneyland, sometimes there's like not enough chairs for your whole group, or you have to ask like other groups, hey, can I borrow a chair? So you also don't want to be taking up space to like put your bag on the table where your food is, on a chair that you could be sitting in, anything like that. And so I felt this was super handy. Just anytime we were at a table, I could hook my bag and it was out of the way. And also, like I said, since this is going to be a majority of my bags, it's perfect for different bag strap kinds because the bowler bag, it has these kind of like thin straps. They're pretty sturdy, but sometimes they slip off of like chairs or things like that. And so since it's a hook, it really keeps your bag in place and avoids that. So that is like another reason for some of my other bag types that I bought this. I didn't use this as much, but like I said, this is something that I kept in my bag every single day. It's just an Evian facial spray. So honestly, I don't know the science behind it. I don't know if since it's Evian, it's literally just water in a can, or if they like actually add stuff into it to make it facial spray. But I will say we didn't have any of the like face misters or anything like that. So this was kind of like the closest next thing. And it just feels so nice to, as I'm saying with all of my stuff, just have a little freshen up, just have something to like kind of cool you down. And since it's probably just water, it doesn't mess with your makeup, anything like that. It just kind of sits and gives you a nice cool feeling. So I only have a couple more things in my bag, so I'm gonna kind of rapid fire these, but I had a pack of gum. With so much walking, I had to have tons of Band-Aids, lots of hair ties in case my friends needed them or if I needed an extra one, some lip products, sunglasses, and then the last thing, which probably was my favorite thing that I brought because I used it so much, was a hand fan. So many people have these in line, and everyone had like different types, whether it was like this one that had a nice little handle, or some people had like the little square pocket ones. Honestly though, a fan is just so nice and refreshing that I think whatever kinds you can get, even if it's like a paper hand fan, whatever you want to bring, a fan is so nice to have. Because truly, I used this in line, I used it when I was walking, I used it just the entire trip. And so I would definitely recommend, especially if you're going to Walt Disney World because of the Florida weather, I would definitely recommend this. But obviously even at Disneyland, you know, California still gets hot. That's the park that I always go to and that I love the most. But I would say a little fan will help you so much with staying comfortable, making you survive the entire day. As you can see from my haul, I was definitely prioritizing staying cool, staying fresh, all the things that were gonna make me comfortable from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. I had so much fun at all the parks, and I'm so glad I had all the things that I brought with me to make me comfortable and to help get through the entire day. And so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful. And if you're going to the park soon, I hope you enjoy.